Hello, everyone, and welcome to Star Wars Empire Nights. I am your host, the Dark Lord Apple, and today I want to go ahead and dive into with the Mandalorian season 2 ending, doing our own speculation about what's happening with Luke. Where is Luke taking Grogu, and what can come out from that scenario? And what I want to dive into is the history of where it's at. So, just diving in, we know that The Mandalorian is 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And the next big thing that, of course, we come familiar with in the comic books is the Dark Empire. But that's still a little bit ways off. And what we want to go ahead and look at is probably the next big thing that was around that time was Luke Skywalker starting Jedi Academy. Now, you're not familiar with this. This was a video game, a very popular video game that was right after another popular video game, which was Jedi Outcast. So, Jedi Academy is set in 14 ABY after the Battle of Yavin, a decade after the events of Return of the Jedi, and like I had said, the 2 years after Jedi Outcast. Now, what takes place is that in the video game, players take on the role of Jaden Core, a talented Jedi Padawan who has built their own lightsaber and travels to the Jedi Academy on Yavin 4 to learn the ways of the Force. And he goes to Luke's Jedi's Academy. Of course, it's the Jedi Temple that's going to be on Yavin 4. And he takes students on that are there. And of course, fan favorite Kyle Katarn is there. And this leads to a series of adventures and growing. When watching The Mandalorian, you see Luke take on Grogu. A lot of fans that were definitely that played the video game and read some of the books, this is where our head went. This is where we're like, oh man, Luke is going to go train Grogu at the Jedi Academy, which we believe is going to be on Yavin 4. But let's look at the timeline. The Mandalorian is 5 years after Return of the Jedi, and Jedi Academy is set to 14 ABY, which technically would make it a decade. So we're still 5 years off from Luke starting or being on Yavin 4 for the Jedi Academy. And so there's a little bit of a mystery because there's 5 years here, right? Now, I'm going to discuss some rumors that have been discussed about The Mandalorian is that when The Mandalorian returns in 2022, it's going to do a 3-year jump. Okay, so if we count that, that's 8 years after Return of the Jedi, and technically 2 years before Jedi Academy. But we're right at the time frame of, guess what? Jedi Outcast. Okay, so now that puts us in a Jedi Outcast took place, right? So a lot of fans we're kind of hopping to the Jedi Academy, but we have to remember that Jedi Outcast is literally at the time that Lucasfilm and Disney are going to be bringing back The Mandalorian. So if we skip 3 years, we're at that 2-year mark where Jedi Outcast takes place. Now, in the video game, it was a single player story. It was set at 12 ABY. 8 years after the events of Return of the Jedi. And of course, it was around the 2 years after the Mysteries of the Sith. As the previous installments in the series that you got to play as Kyle Katarn, of course, a fan favorite who was voiced by Jeff Bennett, a former Jedi who has cut his links with the Force after almost succumbing to the dark side. At the start of the game, he is a mercenary working for the New Republic. Okay, keep that in mind. Over the course of the game, Kyle is joined by several characters that assisted him in various measures, including his mercenary partner and love interest, Jan Ors, okay, and the sophisticated administrator of Cloud City, Lando, okay, Billy D. Williams. Billy D. Williams even came back and voiced this in the video game. And then, of course, the Jedi Grandmaster and the leader of the Jedi Academy on Yavin 4, Luke Skywalker. So if we look at it in the Jedi Outcast timeline, Luke Skywalker has the Jedi Academy. So before we even think about Ben Solo, even if that's the route that they're going in, and I'm going to do another video of why it might not happen, and the key is Ezra and Ahsoka, and I'll dive into another video on that. 3 years after the event of the ending of The Mandalorian, if we're looking at the 2-year mark, that takes us into Jedi Outcast. That is the perfect time frame for Jedi Outcast. So in The Mandalorian, could we be running into Kyle Katarn? Like, is Kyle coming into the show now? And seeing 3 years of where Grogu has grown as a Jedi, I mean, that is what we're looking at. So I think some of the key things that we're going to be seeing when The Mandalorian returns is that there's going to be a strong tie to Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy, because Dave Filoni is honoring what George did, and these stories and everything that went on, what now Disney considers legends, these were all approved and ran through George Lucas firsthand. So they're going to honor that. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will honor George Lucas by what came before. So I think, and this is all speculation, right? This is just our fan theories, that I think the key to where we go next lies within Jedi Outcast, and then maybe Jedi Academy. So that's my take. That's my 2 cents of possibly where the franchise is going. And I want to hear your take. If you like it, please subscribe. Look for more videos that are going to be coming soon. And as we dive into that theory that I just said about Ahsoka and Ezra. Okay, so you guys have a wonderful day, and may the Force be with you.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.